So if you've seen my previous video, I'm hooking up some LEGO PF motors to an L293D chip and driving them from an Arduino. I thought I'd carry out a reasonably scientific analysis of the relationship between PWM and speed. I've come to realise there's a number of flaws in this experiment, but I've learned a few things. I set up this shaky looking rig using the tracked buggy that I'm ultimately want to be controlling. There's an Arduino setting different duty cycles, and I'm measuring the track speed that results. I'm measuring the track speed by sticking a magnet to the track and running it beneath a Hall effect sensor. The Arduino measures each time the magnet passes. It's reasonably reliable. Experiment 1. I varied the PWM from 255 down to 95 in steps of 10 because it's stalled at 95. There were 2 trials at each power level. The Arduino timed and counted 15 revolutions of the track. We then repeated the entire test with the motor and the track running in the opposite direction. So there are 4 points for each PWM value, 2 blue going forward and 2 orange going backwards. Looking at the raw data, I noticed 2 things. Firstly, I wasn't starting the track in the same place each time, so the first revolution could be much shorter than the others. Secondly, the Hall effect sensor would miss 1 in every 100 times the magnet passed, meaning that rotation would be timed as twice as long as it actually took. For the second experiment, I waited for the magnet to pass the sensor for the first time before I started counting. And having gathered 14 times, I'd take the median and use that to work out whether or not there'd been double counts. The data's clearly less noisy. The blue run was the first, and the orange run was the second. The second run was slower than the first, and it stalled out at a higher power value. What I couldn't tell from this experiment was whether the motor ran slower in one direction, or if the track was harder to drive in one direction, or if the battery pack was running out of juice. I replaced the battery pack with a 10-volt power supply and ran a third experiment with the same parameters. At full power, RPM had dropped from 140 in the previous experiment to 120 and then 90 in this experiment, and the stall power was up to 145. I switched back to the battery pack just to confirm, but my conclusion is that I've destroyed the motor by running it too long. It was running for about 30 minutes in total for the experiments, plus setup time, at varying PWM rates, without really giving it much of a break, so I suspect the damage is permanent.